So today I just wanted to take a look at the 2012 film Hotel Transylvania. This is definitely one of those cutesier, I guess you could say father-daughter type bonding films. We do open up with the father and the daughter. We see them as the daughter grows up throughout the years, and it's obvious that she means a lot to him. He's obviously very protective of her. And not only just to keep her safe, but I guess to provide a sanctuary to other creature kind. He has devised this high-end resort hotel type deal, which is obviously the Hotel Transylvania. It's meant to be a sanctuary from people so that they can actually get a rest and just, actually vacation and relax without, worry about just being attacked. So throughout the course of this film, we have the father, which is preparing for the birthday celebration for his daughter Mavis, and in waltzes a human who I guess is just a total dope, is just very excited about the whole situation, and he wants to hang around, even though the father is telling him he can't be there, he's not welcomed, it's monsters only, everyone's going to kill him if they find out he's not a monster. So this guy Johnny, Dracula, pretty much just puts him in a monster disguise just to try and help him fit in. So he kind of positions himself as Johnny Frankenstein, a cousin of the Frankenstein creature's left arm, which I guess in itself is humorous, but the character himself is just a total idiot, a total dope, and through the majority of the early half of the film, I was just like, go away, you're annoying. But, that's his purpose there, is he's meant to stir things up a bit, I guess, just kind of show everyone that there is a different way of living. Essentially, throughout the course of the film, Dracula just kind of tries to make it known that he cannot be there, but Johnny, to some degree, as part of his ruse or his disguise, gets wrangled into being a party planner for Mavis's 118th birthday, and it actually just winds up becoming a very lively party, just very modernized as opposed to all of the old world things that they are used to encompassing within their celebrations. So during the course of this, we have various tactics by Dracula to just get Johnny out of the hotel. One of the better bonding moments in the film, which I actually found very enjoyable, is when Dracula is trying to arrange some tables for the birthday celebration. They're obviously flying tables, they arrange themselves. Johnny just kind of decides to have fun with these tables. Before you know it, we have I guess you could say, a flying table race or table fight. And it's throughout the course of this that Johnny eventually does escape Dracula, makes his way back to Mavis, but once Dracula does catch up with Johnny, he kind of just pretty much tells him the story of Dracula and his lost lady love. And it's made understood that Johnny just really is very much an outcast or an outsider. He eventually finally decides to leave, only for Dracula to discover that Mavis has fallen in love with Johnny. Obviously he feels the same way, but within this storyline, obviously a person can only find their true love once. So now it's this battle against time to retrieve Johnny, to bring him back before he actually makes his way back to Los Angeles. So we've just kind of got this whole scene with Dracula, I guess you could say, hypnotizing one of the pilots, speaking to Johnny through the pilot, and then of course they turn right back around and he goes back to Mavis. But throughout the course of this, Dracula does become aware that there are, I guess you could say, monster celebrations, and monsters are no longer feared or hated. They're actually very well liked, which in the sequel prompts Dracula, I guess you could say, to making the hotel human integrated. But yes, we do end this segment of the film with Mavis just going off with Johnny to, I guess, make her own life. So it was originally Miley Cyrus who had been cast as the voice of Mavis. Due to other obligations, she had to drop out, and we wound up with Selena Gomez. I'm honestly not going to hold that against the movie, because at least I don't have to look at her. But I do consider it a very cute and very enjoyable film, and honestly, I don't recognize her voice enough for it to bother me. So this film was released on September 28th. Ironically, this day is known as World Rabies Days. So that's ironic in the sense that throughout the course of the film, a common expression used by characters happens to be holy rabies, which I thought just very amusing. So two animated films which share, or rather another animated film that shares a similar plot with Hotel Transylvania is Monsters, Inc. Obviously, it's a human making their way into the monster world. So in these two films, you also do have actor Steve Buscemi voicing characters within these two similar plotted films. In Hotel Transylvania, Steve Buscemi is Wayne the Wolfman, and then in Monsters, Inc., he is Randall Boggs, which is pretty much the show's antagonist. Hotel Transylvania was released in 2015, and in my opinion, it's a lot more enjoyable than the first one. There's a lot more going on. Obviously, Mavis and Johnny have a child, and it's unknown until the child's 5th birthday whether or not they are human or vampire, as supposedly within this story's mythos, the child has until the 5th birth year to grow their fangs. So obviously Dracula, hoping against hope that this child will be a vampire, keeps insisting that the child is a late fanger and that they will get their fangs. Eventually, at some point in time, he devises a plot in which Mavis and Johnny can take a week vacation alone, and he will stay with the child. And what he's really planning to do is just teach the kid to be a monster. Whereas Mavis, her agenda is more, she's interested in looking at California because she's interested in moving there because she feels that her child is not safe because he is not a monster and needs to be among humans. So obviously Johnny would rather stay in the monster world because he feels more comfortable there as well. So he sides with Dracula to just keep Mavis distracted while Dracula is doing his thing. We do have just kind of a series of various events where you have the Wolfman trying to hunt a deer in front of the kid. The Wolfman is so rusty he doesn't even remember how to hunt down a deer, and he literally just walks up to the deer and says howl rather than actually howling at the deer. There's another segment where Dracula just eventually just gives up and tries to take the kid to vampire camp, where Dracula himself had just learned skills to be a successful vampire, and the whole place is just totally watered down, and it's just not up to Dracula's expectations from what he had grown up with. So he sneaks off, tries to dump the kid off of one of those high railings just to get him to turn into bat form and to fly. Obviously the kid doesn't. The event is recorded by camera phone and they become YouTube viral, which of course makes its way to Mavis. She loses her temper and she wants to know where her child is. So Dracula rushes back to the hotel. Mavis consents to letting the child have his last birthday party there. And this is essentially where the, I guess you could say the original Dracula also just kind of chimes in and tries to turn the kid into an actual vampire. For some reason everyone's just caught on this one little detail. It's actually when Dennis, the child, and his female companion, a female wolf, are being threatened by a bat that he finally does grow his fangs, and it's just an all-out action sequence where the little kid's just kicking butt. Eventually, Dracula as well as Mavis and the great-grandfather just jump in on this whole thing just to try and defend the family. I'd say all in all, yes, it's a very enjoyable film. I honestly enjoyed it a lot more than the first one. The first time I tried to watch the original, just because it was so late at night, I fell asleep during the middle of the movie. I woke up towards the end where the party was going on, and I just heard, I just turned everything off. I went to bed, and for some reason I just never picked up the film until recently just to review this for you guys. But yes, they're both great films. I just prefer the second one. So one of the things that I found interesting, although I really haven't found anything backing up if it was done on purpose, is the fact that I believe it's in ancient Greek culture. It was believed that people with red hair become vampires in the afterlife, and obviously Dennis is a vampire. Johnny just happens to be married to a vampire. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.